Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the Week Ahead report. It's the Monday the 11th of April and it's 7:35. Week Ahead report talks about the up-and-coming calendar, also some of the trends and themes that we've been discussing over the last week. So we looked at a little bit of a recapture and also outline what sort of a week we're going to have in terms of economic numbers. And this week's going to shape up, I think, to be quite a positive week. We've got a lot of data out, particularly towards the close. It's quite interesting to see that Chinese data and the US data, they're all combining on the one day, and that comes out on Friday. We'll go through it, but there's just a lot of data, coming out on Thursday and more importantly on Friday. So I think the week's going to trade into this data, and by the rumours sell, the fact type scenarios might evolve, but it's certainly going to be fun. It certainly gives a bit of a lead as to how these two economies are actually moving. China, we've got that inflationary concerns. In America, we're still trying to get that economy moving. So quite interesting. But first of all, let's have a little bit of a wrap as to what happened over the weekend, just so we get our mind set. And let's just grab that now. Okay, here we go. Dow, as we know, was down at 29 points. The S&P was down 5, and the Nasdaq was down 15 points. So a little bit close for the American markets. European markets were a little bit more bullish. The top 50 was up 20. FTSE was up 48. The CAC was up 33. The DAX was up 38 as well. The local market was just down a little bit, and there it is down there, down 11 points at 4,954. So I guess a little bit of weakness there on our close. A big key level, that 5,000 mark on that Aussie, so if we can get through it, then we're off to the races. Let's see how it goes. Obviously, one of the big determining factors there is how the commodity market's actually traded, and to me that's obviously key for that Aussie. Naturally, we saw that unemployment data last week, so let's have a look at some of the key commodities. Crude, in my mind, obviously very strong, remains very strong as well. Just note that Brent crude was up to 21.26. And the crude market there for oil for the West Texas continues to move higher. So if anything, that will play out, and it should play out in terms of negative aspirations for the equity markets down the track, just purely because it's an input and a major input in terms of our energy sources. So if we start to see crude stay up at these levels, then we could have an issue. If you do note crude up there before at 140. And then it's when it traded all the way down because we came into that GFC. So whether it's people then start to make irrational expectations about the economies and also the cost of high imports, I think will be another thing to come. But at the moment, be cautious, purely because if the price of crude does remain high, it's going to have an effect on profitability of a lot of firms. And as a result of that, we should get a bit of a kickback in equity prices. Okay, so that's the equity market. So gold continues to rally as well. Sorry, that's the crude market. Gold 1474 looks like it has got that $15 handle on it. Let's see how that unfolds. But still looking quite strong. You can't sell it, you can't buy it. If you did buy it, you're just adding on a position to new breaks. This is all good stuff. This is a market that builds on itself, and certainly a market that just continues to trend. Whether or not how it'll get there, it's a very hard market to actually try and get involved in terms of just whether you just bite the bullet and buy it or whether you sell it. You're certainly not going to sell this market, so if anything, you're still going long until the market tells you something else. And 1480, 1500, I think, is where she wants to rest. Silver, another performance, sterling performance, sorry, a bit of a joke there. Sterling performance from silver, and that's at just under 41, and you can see that trend there just continues. So very solid move there. Trend is your friend. Having a look at some of the others, commodities, and I think let's have a look. They're all starting to have a little bit of a move to the top side, and I think that to me, we are starting to get a move to the top side. And copper, I'm just trying to find copper for you. There it is, copper. Yeah, 450. That's something we sort of suggested the players should get involved in. That seems to be going quite nicely. And up she goes. The expectations are there for it to reach back through 465, so quite happy with that result. There it is. There's quite a strong move. It should actually trade into some form of resistance pretty soon. There it is there, as you can see it. that resistance there is that old high there. So just be cautious around about 460, 462 on that trade. Some of the just a quick look at some of the commodities while we've got them there. I think it's probably worthwhile to have a look at wheat and soya. I'll just try and get wheat and soya up there because these guys are continuing to trade pretty well. There we go, there's wheat. And you'll be able to see that we certainly still remain very positive our grains. We do have those core positions in place and we're quite happy to keep them there, but just because we feel that it's going to continue to trade higher. That's coming up. There we go, I'll just get a daily chart. That's the hourly, and then you can see that it's moved higher, so it still feels all right. Back to those areas, I think, is certainly well on the cards. And that's for the whole complex. The other thing is, just so everyone's aware, dollar yen, we've been long that for some time. We took some profits on Friday, just booked something. We still have a core position. I still like this, and I'll probably trade on a break back through to that 85.50 because I still feel that looks that dollar yen still looks okay. Local equity markets, just looking at the SPY there. And we know 4,953 needs to stay above 5,000 in order to be quite bullish about that. I think if anything there, I think it just looks it looks okay at the moment. You just got to run with it. Okay, now let's look at the economic calendar. There it is. There, it does look a bit heady there, doesn't it? Yeah, be a little bit cautious there. Maybe pull back before it attempts the top side. Yeah, I'd actually think it's going to be a little bit softer. Just looking at the chart there, that's all. Let's try that. Let's see the daily looks like. Okay, just to see what that is. Okay, that daily will come up. Let's have a look at the economic calendar. We've got a little bit, there we go. No. Just in terms of, as I mentioned, it's quite an eventful week in terms of the numbers coming out. I guess coming out, if we start on the 11th, Germany wholesale price index, pretty important, and money supply, yes, that's okay. On Tuesday, we've got the NAB business confidence. That'll be widely watched. Japan machine orders, Germany CPI. Now, this could be interesting because this is the start of the CPI data for a lot of areas. We're talking about Germany, we're talking about Europe, we're talking about the States, we're talking about China. So let's see if we get some lead out of that. So we've got Germany CPI. We've also got the ZEW out of Germany as well, survey. That'll be widely watched. CPI in the UK as well. Trade balances, and probably that's one of the major ones. Moving into Wednesday night, not a lot, but look at that IP out of Europe, Eurozone aggregate IP, which will be quite important. Retail sales, which will be widely watched. That's always a precursor to the big ticket items. Retail sales, business inventories in the States, and also Fed Beige Books comes out as well. On the Thursday, we've got the G20 meeting. We've got Australian consumer inflation expectations, RBA foreign data, also new motor vehicle sales, and PPI in the States, initial jobless claims, etc. Now, this is on Friday. Now, Friday the 15th. This is a big ticket for the week. You've still got that G20 meeting, but out of China, you've got the PPI, 7.2%. Retail sales, 16.3%. That's an increase of 0.5%. China urban investments, that's expected to continue. CPI up again, up 0.3%. GDP meant to be pretty standard there, as with the IP. Capacity utilization in Japan, IP in Japan expected to contract. CPI in the Eurozone, and then we've got CPI in the States, consumer prices, TICS data, capacity utilization, and IP. So as you can see, there is there's plenty of data out this week, all culminating in the 15th on Friday, where we've got a lot of data from around the world, and I think it's going to be quite an interesting match, just to see where we are placed. I think this will be a litmus test to see how the first quarter has actually gone in terms of economics from the various areas around the world. So loads of fun there on that. Stay close to it. Well, that's about it from me. I hope for the week ahead report. Hope everyone has a good week, and we'll certainly talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.